Okay, so what benefits do I think that children and young people experience from being out in forest schools? The benefits are absolutely phenomenal. They're just mind-blowingly amazing. And interestingly, it goes back a little bit to what we've been talking about, to their non-access of being in an outdoor space. Being able to get dirty, to be able to fall over, to be able to do risky things, to be able to be trusted, to be valued, to have an understanding about how the natural environment actually works. Children are so removed from, you know, I know we say this, you know, about where milk comes from, where, you know, a chicken portion actually belonged to a chicken, you know, that was running around, and that an egg actually comes out of a chicken. And that actually there is a whole process, you know, that one thing feeds something else, and that a tree that's standing in a woodland, you know, is actually like a big lettuce. You know, it's like a lettuce, but it's just bigger. You know, and how does a leaf catch a ray of sunshine? How does it catch a photon? How does it change that? And when you hold a leaf up, anything that's green, how you can see the cell inside it, and how is that the best solar panel in the whole world? And then all of a sudden we've got our awe and wonder, we've got our sense of relationship to the natural environment, you've got your sense of place. You know, children are moving around more and more and more and more today, you know, because of jobs, because of the way that parents, you know, socio-economics, you know, people are driven. Children, you know, parents stay in work for, on average, 3 years, you know, and then they get up and move. Children have to move, they sometimes have to change friends, they have to change school groups, they have to change physical environments. Now, if children can learn to be able to cope with and deal with that change, problem solving, through the most amazing lessons that nature is actually teaching us, through learning what types of wood do different things, learning what types of trees do different things, learning historically, you know, why Ecclesall Woods, you know, there's Neolithic, you know, stone carvings in there, you know, there's, you know, people that have died, you know, in those woods, people who've bought areas of it, that have made Windsor chairs, that have, you know, have lived out their whole lives there, the trees that are just full of history, of people wandering around, using them, understanding them, and how, just going back to Sheffield, you know, how the steel industry, you know, in this city has been brought up because of the trees, because of the parks, because of the green, because of the weather, because of the, you know, the rivers and streams that are around here. A whole generation, you know, of grandmas, of grandfathers, you know, whose whole lives have been totally and utterly surrounded by this natural environment, and how children are being totally estranged because they're not allowed to get dirty, because their clothes make them look like a designer figure that they've spent 100 quid, 200 quid, you know, or £7, you know, on a pair of shoes, but they're not allowed to go and get them dirty, they're not allowed to get them ripped, they're not allowed to go and play, they're not going to look right. And actually giving children that sense of freedom actually allows them to explore boundaries, to develop their own understanding of the outdoor space, and through that process allows them then to function socially in a way that more and more and more children are becoming disaffected, disappointed, disillusioned with the education system and with the general world around us. But one of the things I will just add to all of that as well is that can only happen with the passion, excitement and foresight of the forest school practitioner. Is simply being in the outdoor space isn't necessarily going to create the outcomes, and that is because they're skilled in determining what the outcomes are. They do their observations on the young people and children. They can guide the learning appropriately, so the children have the ability to be able to have experiences in areas where they may not be as strong or they may not be as rounded, and the reflection gives the learning back to the child and gives it back to the individual.
Mm-hmm.